As Aussies emerge from the biggest betting day of the year, the government's entered the race to stop the nation from gambling. With new gambling ad rules incoming, will they be enough to fix our wagering ways?
Same game multi for tonight.
Gambling ads.
Bet online with me.
Just make the points better.
So long may we play.
Man, I love this country.
They're pissing a lot of people off.
I think there's too many gambling ads on the TV, to be honest.
Every ad break is a gambling ad at the moment. A bit pissed off.
You see about 3 or 4 times the same ads and it does spoil it.
And from March next year, the familiar tagline,
Gamble responsibly.
will be replaced with 7 new messages in a crackdown commissioned by the federal government.
That will require online wagering companies to implement new taglines. These taglines will be rotated on a regular basis to make sure that they are fresh.
The new warnings include, you win some, you lose more. What's gambling really costing you? And think, is this a bet you really want to place?
The government's taken a small positive step. These changing messages at least tell something of the truth. You could lose.
It's hoped the move will help with Australia's massive gambling problem. Our gambling losses per capita currently the highest in the world.
We have nearly 1,000 gambling ads on television every day in Australia.
Those ads flashing every 2 minutes on free-to-air TV, a 253% increase since 2016.
I have been confronted by countless members of the community over the years who frankly are sick and tired of being bombarded by gambling advertisements.
But advocates are calling for action beyond the taglines.
We need much stronger regulation of this industry, full stop.
Moves to tighten restrictions on gambling ads have failed in the past. Since a 2018 rule change, gambling companies have boosted their ad spend to $500 million.
Gambling ad regulation is virtually non-existent. We've had the most irresponsible gambling policies, and the tsunami of sports betting ads is proof of that.
So is it time we gave punting promotions a big drop punt?
I think the government has also got to consider that groundswell in the community for just getting rid of gambling advertising completely.
And the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, joins us now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Is the idea of this based on what we did with tobacco as a country?
Well, it's research-based of what are the most effective messages so that people who are problem gamblers will pause, really is what it's aimed at, and think about the consequences.
Sure, but when I think about the tobacco one, which was very successful, there were a lot of elements to that strategy. You know, you saw the warnings on the labels, you saw control of advertising, particularly, and vast education programs to make smoking less cool, so shall we say. Do you have things like that planned?
No, I think they're different problems you're trying to solve. Smoking isn't good for anybody. What we're aimed at here there's no problem if people have the occasional punt on the Melbourne Cup or on what have you. The problem is a group of people who will become problem gamblers, and that can be devastating for them. So it's just really targeting that rather than saying all gambling, which people might choose to engage in. Sometimes it can be harmless, but the fact is it can cause enormous harm at the same time.
This generation of adults, though, that are problem gamblers, the ones that are, wouldn't have been children that would have been inundated with the vision and the ads that we're seeing now. I mean, what's this next generation hold if this is what they're seeing now? Does it go far enough, do you think, what you're trying to do? I think we're getting the balance right, not trying to impose a complete nanny state solution, but trying to warn people that it can be an issue and to give them pause for thought.
But do you have any consideration for the amount of advertising? Because sheer amount, kids watching it when they're watching sport or whatever, they're constantly turning up. The tagline at the end probably they receive differently to the way an adult might. Do you see any place for any limitations on advertising?
Well, what we've done is try and bring states and territories with us. So this is an agreement across the board because a lot of it's regulated by them, but also work with industry to get a solution. So we're trying to get everyone headed in one direction rather than make it a conflict issue.
I think obviously we have to talk